So I would like to give some highlights from Module 2, where we're talking about language. We mentioned that language is how we make sense of the world around us. It is your basic communication. That if students don't have language knowledge, they can't express to you what they actually know. We also have to be able to organize our thoughts. And when we organize our thoughts, whether written or verbal, as I'm doing now, we have to do it through language. And it needs to be a language that the person I'm speaking to understands, as well as what I am speaking. And so we start out with just understanding the same language. Then we start grasping it as a code. And I never really thought of the English language as a code, but I loved it when we used to be able to type with webdings, and we would make codes for our friends to figure out, and we'd use that font, the webdings font, to type secret messages to each other. And now that I've gone to some of these workshops with the science of reading, I've seen that that's what the English language is. The letter A, to someone who's just being introduced to it, it's a triangle. It means nothing to them until we teach them more about it, what the shape is and what that sound makes. And then it can make more than one sound, and trying to help them interpret that code and grasp that code so that they have a better understanding for the language. We do that through phonology and morphology, the phonemes for the sounds for each letter, whether it be a letter or the two letters together, like TH, making the th sound, or the sh sound with SH, or even CH with the ch sound. And then changing that also to morphology with our prefixes, suffixes, root words, base words, all of these things, that they can go from sounds to grouping these sounds together to come up with the meanings for the words. And then developing that further into comprehension. One of the first things in the book shows that you have to have a knowledge of vocabulary with the, I'm blanking out, vocabulary with, not meaning. Okay, so this is where you say, yeah, I've got a little blip, hang on. So you put those two things together and you have to have comprehension. And you can't have comprehension unless you can, decoding, there we go, where we can decode the word and know what the word means. Now we can actually comprehend it. Being able to say it and read it doesn't mean I know what it means. And then one of my favorite parts of it was the culture. I love listening to the comedian Michael, I forget what's his last name, but he's a British comedian, and he talks about the difference in English in Britain and English here, and how we use the words differently in both places. And I gave an example in my paper of a friend who was invited by this guy that she liked to go to the mall and look at some stores. And so he said, hey, would you like to come help me pick out some thongs? And she was aghast. She was like, no, I do not want to do that. I'll be out here. And so he goes in the store and he comes back out with flip-flops, because in Australia, that's what they call flip-flops, is thongs. So just being able to sound out the word and knowing what the word means, we also have to know what it means in that culture and area. So yeah, it's hard, and we need to be forgiving with teaching it, but also more purposeful, so that we can understand these little people are coming into our classrooms not understanding all of those things, and especially when they're ELL and coming from a different culture. There's so many things to consider that we have to work with as teachers.